All right, recording is on. I want to welcome our new members again this week. I'm having a couple of members every week, so welcome aboard. A little hoarse on the voice today, got a little cold, but you forgive me for that. Otherwise, for the new members, really simple. I'm going to present some analysis on a bunch of different futures assets. I will present levels I believe should be hit this coming week and some trades that we may be able to set. Any trades that I do give are, again, for educational purposes. Any trades you decide to take is at your own risk. Trade is quite risky, so please trade accordingly. Other than that, I will pause in between assets. You can raise your hand and ask questions, and I will respond to you. Okay, it's pretty simple. Other than that, let's get right down to business. We have a couple of interesting things going on this week. It's going to be quite, I think, a volatile week. We have a couple of central bank meetings. FOMC is on Wednesday. We got ECB. We got BOJ. The big one is probably FOMC. Where right now they're pricing in 90% chance of a quarter point raise in the interest rates. As far as ECB, not expected to do much. Same with BOJ, just maybe changing some forward forecasts. Besides that, that's probably the biggie this week, I would say, is really what's going on. Other than, what's going on at the G7 with Trump and, going on, and there's this whole trade war talks, so he could shoot his mouth off at any time. They're supposed to release some additional potential tariffs against China tomorrow, I think they said, regarding, intellectual property, copyrights and stuff like that, and they're threatening to retaliate, and the whole thing last week with Canadian and French, with the steel and all that fun stuff. So at any time Trump could shoot his mouth off. So there's a couple of non-technical factors that could affect the market this coming week, and there's just really not much we can do other than just trade what we see. So just keep that in the back of your mind. We should see some increased volatility this week. Other than that, let's take a look what we got. So we'll start down in the right quadrant in the corner. I'll open it up. We'll look at the weekly chart for the ES, S&P futures, and clearly a very strong breakout of the flag that was going on here. You could see that we had broken above our trend line last couple of weeks. We back tested, and then we got the continuation. So, from a technical perspective, the only thing that's left is this little thing, which is some daily supply, which we'll look at in a minute. It's 2,800, and I think it should do something like this and eventually make all new highs. But I think we're going to see some pullback at 2,800. I don't think we're going through that level yet. So we're going to go look at that now. So it's very possible that, we get a hit of that and then some weakness climb into the market. I don't think it's anything major, and maybe just, a small little pullback into the first level of demand type of stuff on a higher time frame, and then we're eventually going to take out the highs. I don't think we're going to take out the highs this week, but I'm pretty sure we're going to hit the 2,800 and see some kind of pullback reaction out of that zone. That should happen this week. Okay, so let's go take a look at what that zone is that I'm talking about. Take a look. It's up here on the daily chart. That thing. Okay, so we could see what happened over here. We had little supply, we hit the middle, we pushed down out of that, we made the higher low, we held this area, and then we came back and we sort of took out the middle here, but we landed inside this thing, right? Now we chopped around for a couple of days, we back tested the breakout of this little doji hammer candle over here, right? And we were able to fight that off, and then we took out the high. So this one here is gone, right? We were able to go all the way through that. Now we're banging against these wicks, but there's a really strong supply zone sitting right up here. Okay, I think we're going to see that level hit this week, and we should get some kind of back test. The question is, how far is the back test going to go? For now, I'm going to say this candle right here, around 2750. Up here, and then something like this. Get the move out through the top. Okay, so there's definitely some shorts sitting up here. The trend is up, even on the daily. The lower time frames are also up. So the short up here is going to be more like a counter trend trade. It's more like targets. If you're not a counter trend trader, this is a target on your long. Consider, taking some profits up there. And then I would say, after that, you'll look to rejoin the longs back over here, right, at this level. Okay. That's the daily. Let's look at the 240. Trend is up clearly, right? We've back tested. No icon to ask a question. They don't have an icon to ask a question. Pretty sure I'm in Q&A mode, right? Everybody's should be allowed to ask questions there.
Is there anything on that you're interested in discussing?
I'll just put it back on again, so it should work. I don't know. It should be okay. Otherwise, you could type your thing, question into the Skype chat. Okay, fine. So anyway, we've now cleared these little highs back here on Friday up there. This is, so we could see higher lows. We should be making higher highs. Where's the supply that's above us? Let's take a look. I'll zoom out a little bit, and then we'll answer questions. Let's take a look. We rolled over the chart. I didn't draw the supply up there yet. Okay. So, fine. Got to draw supply up here. It's going to be, it looks like it's basically the highs back here on this 240 chart, this level. Let me draw it out. Let's do it right now. So this is going over here, and this is going to be ES supply. So we're looking at, this area up here as the next level. It's 2,800 and change, basically, up here inside the 240 zone. We started to tag a little bit on the outside of that on Friday. The zone is still there. It goes all the way up to 2,800. So that's what we're looking at, some resistance in that range. The daily one is a dot higher, like 2,813. You can see that. And then, I think we're going to get a pretty decent pullback out of that thing. So we're looking for demand a little bit lower down to join the longs, back again. So look for a target up there, take profits. As far as the 60 is concerned, we flipped into a little downtrend on Friday, or Thursday, I think it was actually. Yeah, it was Thursday. After we put this pivot in on the lower high, and then we took out the lows on the 60. So, we sort of ended up down inside this prior high, and then we just shot out one move up. The trend is still down on this particular chart, which means there should be still one higher low coming before we, continue onward. So we're up in supply, and we can come at any time. So, we're in this place where you don't want to make any trades right now. If you're not in something already, you're going to wait for a pull lower down, or you're going to, wait till the supply up there gets hit, and then you'll take the counter trend shoot off the top. So where we are now, it's not tradable. Okay. Someone has a question. It is Loic. Okay. What's up, man?
Hey, Joe. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Can you go back to the daily?
Yep.
I'm just trying to understand your logic. You said that you were expecting the price to actually bounce around 27.50. Is it because of the prior highs that are actually on the left?
Yeah, so over here, right, because we're going to get up into this area. Oops, let me get my pen.
Yeah, and then
so we should get up here,
retrace.
right? And then we took out this supply over here. We created this demand, all this area that we took out over here. You see this, like level on level?
Yeah.
Back tested into that. So once we get up there, back test 27.
Oh, so that's why you're expecting price to stop there. Okay.
Yeah, it should do something like this.
So price at last zone and previous high.
Yep.
Okay. Super. Thanks.
Okay. Got it. No problem. All right. That's our ES. Let's go move on to NASDAQ. See what we got going on over there. NASDAQ. So on the higher time frame charts, we had a new all-time high this week for NASDAQ. Excuse me. Right up here. And we and the weekly, actually, not the monthly chart, chart's not closed yet, but the weekly chart did close at a new all-time high. Right, the last high up here closed over here. We closed up here at a new all-time high. We made a new intra-week all-time high, intra-day all-time high. Right, and that's it. So obviously, right now it's just we're in an uptrend. We've got to buy pullbacks into demand. There's no other way to trade this level. Right? So where are the zones we're looking at? There's no more supply up here, just the area that we sold off of on lower time frames. But there's demand right over here, around 7,000. That's probably going to get hit at this point. If the ES gets up to that level that I'm talking about, starts to sell off, the NASDAQ will probably back test into this area. Right? So it's made a new high. It'll push up a little, pull back to the first level of demand, back test it, and then like that. So we should, see continued new highs and continue to buy pullbacks in demand as far as the Nasdaq is concerned. It's been the stronger one over the last couple of trading sessions. As far as the 60 is concerned, this one also turned into a downtrend. Over here, we had a rollover over here. We rolled over to the U. We filled the gap almost the same day. And then we dropped over here with this little pivot going on, lower highs and lower lows. We flipped into a downtrend right here. Right? So now we're in a downtrend. We've hit demand. And we pulled back into the first level of supply. So we're in a downtrend. We should be making shorts over here. So there should be, if we're going to flip this trend, it has to be a higher low first, and then a higher high. We just got to break this thing like the ES did, and make a rally-based rally, which is all going to still be counter trend. At some point, we're going to have to build higher lows. I think that's probably what we're going to see. This level, I don't think is really going to hold, only because what we're seeing on the S is potential for another push up coming on ES, because we're not really at 2,800 and change level yet. So I think we're going to break this zone on Nasdaq. That's the back test. The demand is actually going to be here. It's not here yet. It's going to be rally-based rally over here. Right? And we're going to go like this, and then we come back here, and then we can talk about getting back up through the top. So, again, the equities this week are going to be a little volatile. We don't know really what's happening just yet because of this 60 downtrend. So we need to flip around. If I'm going to take it's not going to be until I've seen what's happening over here as far as the Nasdaq is concerned. This is all really just one move off the bottom in a downtrend, just like the ES was, right? And we still need to have this. So if I see the pullback in the higher low somewhere above here, then we can start talking, okay, we're going to get long again. But until then, I'm more likely to take a short on a smaller time frame, just because that's the trend trade at this point. Okay, there's a couple of levels underneath us and above us. We've rolled over the charts, so I'm sure if you want to see some levels that you're out, I'll zoom them out. The top is really simple. We made an all-time high. There isn't really a lot of supply. There's a lot of air above this supply zone at 7,200, and then underneath us is a couple of little demand zones, and likely to test some of those this week with FOMC coming up. Right? So leaning directional, I would say more likely a little short than long right now, just because we should be looking for some back tests going on over here a little bit. But long term, for the week after or later this week, I think we're going to rally pretty strong, and we're going to see all-time highs again. We're not done with the all-time highs by any means whatsoever. Okay, so if you're a longer-term trader, use the pullbacks to get yourself into something on the long side. Babesh has a question. Go ahead, man.
Hey, Joe. Your trend decision just comes based on the 60-minute, even the daily and weekly is up?
So the 60 is currently down, and until the 60 goes into an uptrend, the higher time frames can't continue to rally, right? So I agree with you that the higher time frame is up, right? I'll say daily or whatever, or weekly. But if the other smaller time frames, or the 60 at least from my rules, is in a downtrend, until the 60 goes up, the higher time frames can't be going up. It's impossible, right? You have to actually have the 60 rallying to have the other prices go up too, because the 60 is selling off and the higher time frame is also selling off, right? So until this trend of the 60 flips up, don't expect too much in the ways of continued rallying, okay? Which means it has to be a higher low first at some point. Now, it could make rally-based rally, right, and get through the supply zone. There's still going to have to be a pullback at some point to create a higher low to flip this trend back into an uptrend, okay? So we'll have to watch and see what happens. Right now, we're in an area where it's just not worth trading. We're at supply, and we're in a downtrend. You definitely don't want to get long. Do I want to get short? Well, I don't know. Looks like the lower time frames have demand right underneath me. If you look at it, right, there isn't really much in the way of profit available over here. So we'll have to wait and see what happens when the open comes. But, yeah, right now, until the 60 flips up, I'm leaning short. Okay. All right, now to that. Let's talk about crude, because crude was a really nice move this week. If you remember back, I was talking about the original sell-off, and now I was telling you it's time to think about doing the longs over here. We got a really nice bullish candle over here on the weekly chart, assuming we can get above the highs. I'm actually going to take off this little supply I got traded through. Take it off. I'm sorry, demand. Right here, we took that out, and we ended up tagging our lower channel on our trend line. Oops, I just moved it by mistake. Let's fix that. Okay. So we tagged the channel down here, and we've put this little, hammer. I keep moving the line. Let's redraw it at this point. Let's just redraw it. So, and we put in this little dragonfly candle, and assuming we can get back above, well, that would keep this in its uptrend, right? This is a pullback in an uptrend on the weekly chart, and we should see a really nice run. I think we're going to see coming up in the coming weeks is this. We're going to go back up here and get through this thing, eventually getting up into 74. Where I see the fresh supply up here on the weekly chart, a little bit up above outside our range. So we're watching for a potential flip, over here, which means that let's go for the 60. What's our trend over here? Daily, looking at okay, an uptrend. Right over here, we had an opportunity over here after this engulfing twins, right, on the daily chart to break down further. That we were really in air over here, and we didn't do it. We actually pushed back in, and we back tested a little bit on the, into the breakout of this trend line. And then when we did this over here on Friday was looking like we back tested the lows on a smaller time frame over here, made a higher low and come back inside, which means what we should see is this. That's what we're looking at. So there's a little supply over here. I'll show you the zone in a minute. Right now, we're sort of coming up into air. We should be able to rally out of this thing. Trend is up. And we'll get a little test of, and then, this is the bigger trade. So this move down over here on the daily caused the 60 to flip into a downtrend. And we're watching it now build that higher low that I'm talking about over here, where it's starting to get ready to flip back up. So this beginning of the setup for the longs. Okay? Take a look here on the 240 chart. Here we had a little double bottom. There's the middle, right? It was banging against the supply over here. Ended up taking it out over here. This candle right here, you see it? Goes back into this area, wicks out, and now that's it. If we can clear this thing here, we're good to go. There's a 67, now we're at 68, and then look at this big pocket of air up here. So this is a level over here, I'll point out there on the 60, that I think we're going to see probably Monday at this point. Something back over here, we're going to see a little push up, back test, and then bang. Then we should be doing something like this, all the way back to 70 plus. So long crudes are starting very, very soon for a swing long. If anyone wants to talk about, capturing something like almost $8 or $9 upside on crude, if you're a swing trader, take a look at the 60. Here, and the trend of the 60 chart. There it is. Okay, this one actually flipped already. And this little double bottom. There's our supply I was talking about. There's the push down. There's the higher low. There's the higher high. Boom, we're up already. So the swings are here. We back tested a little bit into this area so far, but that's it. So we got 67, that's 68, right? There's a lot of room up here. We're at 65 now. The next real supply on the 60 chart is 67. That's $2.50, $1.50, 150 ticks of upside over here. So we're buy pullbacks in demand at this point because we're in an uptrend. Okay. So crude longs, totally. I would say the target for the week is probably somewhere around $68. Let's look at the smaller time frames if we have anything that we're looking at. Well, that one looks pretty nice, but yeah, I don't love anything over here just yet. We have to wait and see how it opens up. This is not worth buying. We have a lower high over here, so we'll see if this should do something like this. And we get over here, we'll build a little demand zone at the highs, and then we pop through the top. Then we'll buy that demand. So somewhere around 65.80 as we rally up would be the level I'd be looking for. It'll probably be on the chart by tomorrow morning sometime. All right. So that's what we're looking at for crude. Crude longs, target for the week, somewhere around 68. If you have a question, go ahead. Otherwise, we're moving on to gold. This is one of my favorites. Okay, I like this week a lot. Looking at the weekly chart first, right? We know we topped out around this 1370-ish or so, right? A couple of times, and then we pulled back, and then we started to make this higher low. And then we had this little inverted hammer candle, right? It went into that first level of supply. If you remember back like 2 weeks ago, I was talking about it. That once we clear this level here and we hold it, we're going through the top of this. We're going to have the higher low. We're coming back there. There's air above that candle. And then boom, we're going through the top. It's done because all these highs up here just built the higher low, and that's it. They're busting. So we're almost there at this point. If you start to look at some of the small time frames, you'll see a little consolidation going on over here on the daily chart, a little wedge thing going on. It keeps on back testing and holding and back testing and holding. It's getting ready. It's building momentum to crash through this thing. So 1330 this week, okay, we're going to see for gold. About a $20 move up. I'm thinking we're going to see that coming this week. We should be able to take this mess out over here. And then we're talking about, once that happens, so we're talking about taking out the highs on the weekly chart. We're talking about $1,400 gold. So the longs are starting now, okay? You want to get into this thing ASAP, okay? So, we're with this, there should be a little level, which there already is, right? There's demand over here. We're going to hit this. We'll back test the breakout, and then we'll be up here, 1330. That's the target, okay? That's this week's target for gold. And Chris has a question. I'll take that in a second. Let me just go into the 60, okay, Chris? And then I'll take your question. You can see on the 60 that we've had a little channel that we were going on. It looks like we ended up breaking down out of the channel over here, and then we're back inside. Now we're banging to break back inside into this area. Well, there's a little stop out move under here from this level, and now I'm looking at a bull flag over here. That's what I see right here. Okay, this thing should get like this. We're back above 1300, and it's time for gold to start. It's really strong move up. Okay. Chris has a question. Let's take this question here. I'll give you the levels on the 15 first. Go ahead, Chris.
Hey, Joe. How's it going?
What's up? Go, what's up, man?
Good. Listen, if I wanted to buy calls for gold and crude, what are the best instruments for?
So GLD is for. I would tell you use GLD. For gold itself, unless you want to use like some of the miners, you could look at the GDXJ ETFs. Those are the gold miners. The small ones are the GDXJ, the minor, and then the bigger ones are GDX. GLD is gold itself. If you want to look at crude, so you want to maybe talk about the energy ETFs, or you may want to even look at the oil OYL itself is actual crude. You can buy calls on those.
Okay, that would be the best one for long crude.
Yeah, for the trade crude itself, yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, great. Thanks.
Got it. Next. Good. So he's bringing up a point that if you want to be a swing trader and you're not going to be able to hold futures contracts over the long term, there's nothing wrong with using an ETF to do that. Okay, you buy a gold call. I would take probably, if you're looking, Chris, I'd probably tell you to look sometime into, let's see, we're in June now, so look at like August calls. And if you're looking for something like, in the 1400 gold range, which for GLD would put you somewhere around, I think, like, I have to look at it, maybe 140, something like that. Check the prices, but that's what you're looking at, okay? Absolutely doable, no problem at all. Next, let's look at the dollar, what we got this week on the higher time frame. And if you guys remember what I was talking about, as we were getting up here, I told you we should see some kind of pullback, right? And after this wicked move up on the dollar, right? So open up the weekly chart here, and there we go. So the trend is down, right? We had a one move off the lows, okay? And if the dollar is going to turn trend around, well, it needs to build up first, right? So there you see right away we got to the top of this little weekly level. We had 5 or 6 green candles in a row in the weekly chart, inverted hammer at the top, and then we closed below the lows. Very bearish. All right, so you see continued selling into this 92 area this week. Once we get there, anybody's guess, right? Are we really going to break the bottom over here and just continue down? Don't know. I would say, as we get to 92, that'd probably be the target for this week. We see the little symmetry going area over here. So somewhere right over here is where we should get the next pausing, and then we'll need to figure out if this thing is really going to build a higher low and rally, or it's going to collapse from there. But that's the target for now, 92 and change for dollar this week, which means we should see continued strength in the other currencies, right? And on the daily chart, you could see what happened up there, right? We hit the okay, we came back to the first level of demand, these little base rally thing, and then we bounced, and then over here on Friday, we started getting rejection of the highs. So if we get it continued down, which I think what's going to happen, we'll end up over here. That's where it's coming, 92. There's a convergence right there of the 50 moving average, the 200 moving average. It's a demand zone. It looks to be about the 38 fib retracement at least, potentially even more. Let's just double check what that is. Off the little rally move up here to here. Yeah. So, yeah, it's the 38.2 fib right at 92. You can see that. So definitely think something over here as far as the pause for the next level of the dollar, which means we should see most of the other currencies continue up, right? There should be basing over here, and there should have a rally-based rally. There's going to have a drop-base drop on the dollar, okay? So let's go see how that plays out for us. There's our euro. Look at the wicked reversal on the weekly chart, right? Extremely, extremely bullish. Total uptrend over here. One move down. We come into the top of this little demand zone over here. Ran ahead, drawn a little more conservative. And we immediately place the hammer, and there's the close above, and there's that like evening star reversal candle, right? So air back to 120. That's where the euro's going. Looks like the 50 average is right there, right, on the weekly chart. So that's the target for now. Euro's up to 120 for this week. Let's take a look over here. There's the daily. We land inside of, or touch the outside of our demand zone, and right away base rally. We're at the supply zone. We just paused a little bit on Friday. Right above these highs of 118 and change is air, and the next level is 120. Right, all of the convergence is going on over here. Everything is inside that area right there. We've got the Bollinger Bands, the 50, the 200, and the supply. It's all right there at 120. That's where the euro is looking to get to. So we want to be long euros. The trend over here is actually down on the daily, but up on the lower time frames. Right. Let's go take a look. So we can start riding the euro up into those zones. Here's the 240. This is in an uptrend. Arguably, it's rally-based rally, that's for sure. But I think we're looking at the higher high over here, right? After this little sell-off and the pivot, and now we're looking back to get up there. There's the 119 area, and then we're getting up to the 120s. So from the lower time frames, oops, sorry about that. We're looking at longs. Where's our level to join the longs if you're not already in? I'm in from back here, if you remember from the swing trade. Still in this swing trade that started back on this day. We're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So tomorrow will be the 9th day. Well, I'm still 2 more days before I start moving my stop on this swing trade. I'm aiming for 120 on that sucker. Let's go back over here on the lower time frames. We're going to have currency rollover. I think it's this week. So there's our 60 chart, okay? And so we come back into demand on Friday. There's a little bit of supply. This is the uptrend. Drop base, drop, one move down. Over here we have route base rally. Over here we're making higher highs and higher lows, and therefore up. And we hit demand, and now we're just flagging over here. So there's a lot of air up here, okay, above this little supply zone. So a pullback on a smaller time frame into some demand over here will give you the long entry that you're looking for to join this trade further up to 120. Let's see where that is on the lower time frame. Here's our 15 chart. So that's really nice. Should we get down there? I don't know if we will, but should we? That's interesting. All right. There's this 17200 area if we can get there, and if not, that means we're going to push up into here, which means once we take out this supply over here, I'll start looking at something in this area over here for a long. As we get up here, you pull back, that. Okay. 120. That's our target. Yeah, Chris.
Yeah, Joe, would you have a set and forget at the support there, or the demand of 117,200?
200. So let's just take a look on the C8. Yeah. So where's the end 117,200? I want to make sure. Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. I think at the bottom, is it? It is no. The problem with putting a set and forget there is going to take out the last pivot under here. Again, it's going to create another higher low for us on the 60 if we do that, you know. So, no, I'm not going to put a set and forget inside that area yet. No.
No.
Nope, won't do it. Nope.
That looks
I have to
like
watch that one.
nice.
I want to watch that one turn around. It looks fantastic over here.
Yeah.
But yeah, just put an alert on it. Let it wake you up and take a look and see what you want to do. Okay.
All right.
All right, man. Next, that's our euro. Let's go look at the nat gas. Nat gas, as far as I'm concerned, is dead. And I mean dead. This is one of the best trades I've seen on nat gas in the last couple of weeks. Take a look at this on the weekly chart. Hello. That is as bearish as you can get. Failed hammer, after the push-up and the breakout over here, unable to get any continuation whatsoever. And then we reversed almost all the breakout. Are you kidding me? This is looking like a disaster. Okay, we should be down over here at the end of the week. Massive sell-off in nat gas. Take a look over here on the daily chart. So we get this little overlapping gap thing over here, and we just bang up there a couple of days. But look at the candles. What happened over here? Push up into there. We back test. Okay, and then we rally back the lower high. Couldn't sell off too much. Then we get the engulfing candle. Right? Selling off. Back test again. Lower high rejection again. Bearish twins. We're done. This level is a wall. It's not going anywhere. They're going down. That's it. Finished. Okay? So this level will get touched probably Monday. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a small bounce and then something down here. I would say if we're looking for a level to hit on nat gas this week, it's probably somewhere around this area, 2.6, 2.7, something down here. A huge sell-off. That weekly candle is extremely bearish. I'm looking for a short on nat gas. I think I called it out earlier in the way I did. I know about that BS run-up that they had that early morning, I think the day of the inventory. Yeah, this thing over here on the 60. I sent that tweet out about this nonsense being I've seen in a long time, and then immediately started reversing. It took 2 days, but we got all the way back to the bottom. It's over. So any supply that we run into over here, I like this a lot if we can get there. Otherwise, we're going to just take the first levels of supply short. Okay, we're looking at 2.7 for a nat gas target now. Right? It's pretty big. Let's just see underneath us what's going on under here. Sorry about that. Let's see. There it is. Let's look at these zones, see what they look like. Oh yeah, there's the big pocket of air. This is the target. This is the target for that gas. This thing right here, 2720. That's where I would put my exit on the short. We're going to get bounces out of these little levels over here. You're going to use them to get short again. There's a wicked sell-off coming for nat gas this week. All right, that's nat gas. I like this level of 294 if it gets hit. Otherwise, we'll take any time we break down out of this low, right over here. You can see there's some room under here for breakouts. If you miss anything under there, the minute this gets hit, you short the first level of supply, wherever you find it. After this gets hit, you'll get out of this zone. It's a pretty strong little area. But once we take out the lows and that hits, short the first level of supply. Okay, and the target will be 2.7. You'll get at least 100 ticks, if not more, out of the trade. Okay, that's nat gas. That's my number one so far. I like that a lot. Let's look at the yen. Well, the yen is in my decision time. Okay? If we look at the weekly chart on the yen, we came into this demand zone, right? we had a drop, base, drop, base, drop. All this was counter trend. The yen was actually an uptrend on the weekly chart, right? Higher highs, higher lows. We got one sell-off into this demand zone, and then we did this nice little, twin over here. Then last week we had the inverted hammer. We got down a little bit lower, and then we put on a regular hammer. So we have opposing hammers on the weekly chart. And now what has to happen for us to continue to rally is we must take out the high of this hammer. If we're able to do that, so we'll say that this is a rejection over here, but we've held the lows, and we have no more demand up here. We'll get a failed hammer and potentially all the way back to here. On the other hand, if we're unable to take out the highs of this hammer on the weekly chart, this will be the failed hammer, and we'll go the other way. So it's decision time, okay? That's what's going on here. The yen needs to decide what it wants to do. We have BOJ this week. We have the FOMC this week, so it's going to get quite volatile over here, and it's just a little too early to call which direction it wants to go. I don't know. All I know is a break of the highs is extremely bullish. A break of the lows is extremely bearish. That's what I know. Okay? So again, because we're not sure which way the indexes are going, right? So we're not getting a clear picture on the euro, on the yen either, right? So there's the high. I don't know, right? So far at least, but I don't know what's happening here just yet. Is this level going to hold if we're going to sell off, right? Or is it not? It's going to break and we're going to end up here. That's this whole thing over here. That's the weekly doji. I don't know. I know there's the low. I know there's the high. I don't know which way it's going. I have no clue. Okay. So as far as currently trading the yen, nothing doing on the higher time frames yet until we get up above. I see air over here, and I see air down here. You can see it clear, right? There's nothing above here. There's nothing under here. But inside here, just a bunch of crap. No clue. Don't know. Okay. So I wouldn't be trading this until we get a break of some of that stuff going on. As far as trend, it looks like we're still in a downtrend on the. All right. Let's see over here. Okay, so this is still up on the 240 chart. I don't see it. Yeah, this is just drop, base, drop, base, drop, base, drop. Okay, that's down over there. Let's look at the yen on the 60 chart, and that's in an uptrend. So, yeah. We've got air. There's some demand over here, so I don't have a clear picture for yen at all. Probably not making a trade at all on yen right now. So, smaller time frame stuff, yeah, you want to be, long out of this zone. It looks pretty good. First level of demand, at least on the 15. You have some lower high, lower lows going on over here. There's just this is the middle where we are right now, between the levels. Doji here, and we're just stuck. So, you're better off trading something else, okay? Next. Aussie, we're in a swing longs for that also. We had a really nice move up earlier in the week, and then the back tests, and seeming like starting to look like it wants to hold. So you can see that we've cleared out supply on the weekly chart. Take a look over here. Let me blow it up for you. And this was in an uptrend, and then we have one sell-off. We took out the middle of this little pivot area. We hit this demand zone, and then we based for a little bit. We hit this dragonfly, couldn't break the bottom, and then we start pushing up. Over here, we were a nice, strong candle at the beginning of the week, and then a little bit of a back test, right? We have this inverted hammer. This is clearing out supply. There's supply over here. I'll show it to you. This looks like it should be getting up to 7,800. That's what I'm looking for. It's my target on the swing long. Take a look here. There's our daily chart, and there's the bottom formed over here with the first higher low. We had some supply over here, and we were able to pop out. We hit this doji back here, and then we come back, hold the lows again, second time, and then we're able to explode out of that. What's here? Nothing. It's all air. Look to the left. There's no supply. Okay, so this little back test here, gift, and that's it. We should be going like this, right up to 7,800. Okay, that's the level we're looking for. That makes sense, right? The dollar should be selling off. So Aussie looking good. Expecting a move up and hold. That's good for Aussie as well. So the 240 has flipped into an uptrend. Okay, and we've already hit supply back here, and we created a drop base drop, and we hit it in supply over here. So right now this is still up, and we have a little bit of supply here. So the longs, if you're not in it yet, looks like you're still going to get a chance. we should get something like this. Okay, so let's take a look at 60. Okay, so here's our 60 chart, and we've got close to this 76.80, it looks like, and we've got a really nice looking doji over here. This is an uptrend. This is all drop, base, drop, base, drop. And all one move down. Landed inside the demand. We rally out. We break this supply, right? And now, okay, so now we're looking at, longs over here. This is the mess over here that I was talking about. And therefore, we'll push up. You get a small back test, and then that's where you're going to start the long. So somewhere around 76.20 after we clean this out is where I would tell you to start looking for longs if you're not in it yet. And your target is 7,800, okay? Ryan has a question. Go ahead, man. What's up, Ryan?
Hey, Joe, can you hear me?
Yep, got you.
So my only question was with the ADM in that long as well. On the longer term, though, when I go to a monthly chart, it looked like it broke, closed below
so let's go look.
downtrend line.
Let's go take a look on your monthly chart over here. So you're looking at, let's see, downtrend line, closed below. Oh, sorry, this is weekly. Yeah. Sorry, hold on. Okay, yes, I got the close there as well. You're talking about this trend line over here,
concern you
right?
at all or no?
So, it doesn't anymore, only because the candle after the close, really, this was the close under the monthly trend, right?
Right.
And then we hit the demand. Look at the next month, and then we got above it, and we're back testing over here. So this candle is still open. It's not closed yet, right? And what I think we're going to see is this back inside. Okay, monthly candle is not closed for 3 weeks. And based on what I'm seeing on the other time frames, I think this is just a little bit of an overshoot. We ended up inside the demand, and we're going to end up back in here, and 7,800 is the level I'm going to be looking for. So no, doesn't concern me currently yet. Last month when we were under here, then we would be maybe concerned if we were going to turn into a failed hammer, but it didn't. It actually continued upwards, right? And then that's why you're looking at over here on the weekly, where I'm showing you that we've actually cleared out supply. That's what we're looking at over here. This move up on this current weekly candle just got over here, which is a daily supply level, right, over here, and we just pushed back and weren't able to, do anything. So as long as this turns into a failed hammer, right, we need to continue the up move, right? This is not allowed to go below the low of the week. If it does, we'll probably break this bottom, which I don't expect to happen because it's already showing me that it's starting to hold over here. So I really expect to see this over here, which would give me the failed looking hammer. Once we clear this, it's just a shot straight to 7,800. This will come, I think, maybe even a one-day move. The minute we clear up here this level, okay, of these highs, there's nothing on the daily chart. It's right to 7,800. Yeah, very quick move coming. Yeah, so I wouldn't be concerned yet. I'm already seeing that we're doing this, right? And we've already gotten back here, right here into this little thing, and we pushed off and we're fighting it off. So don't worry about it. Okay?
Gotcha.
If you're in the swing, sit tight, man. 7,800 is coming this week. Next. Okay. Chris, what's up? Yeah.
Hey, Joe, if we get a really hawkish Fed on Wednesday, does your bias...
unlikely, but yeah, okay. Yeah, so again, I tell you, I started out the whole conversation with, there's some wild cards coming this week. I don't know, right? We know that the Fed is really just going to raise the quarter point coming up this time. If they change their forward forecasts, then yeah, there's going to be a wicked reaction down. Wild card we don't know. I don't think they're really going to do it. If you think about it, they've already got some serious tapering going on, right? They're starting to normalize the balance sheet, and they're raising the interest rates. All those bearish, if they start coming out and say they're going to increase the rate of interest rate increases, the market's going to take that as a wicked shock. I don't think they're going to do that at all. Okay?
I guess it all depends on the numbers, right? Like if we
of course.
Yeah, I mean,
of course, but
yeah, and which we have a lot of coming out this week, like CPI.
Yeah, this week. Yep. There's a lot of this week is going to be a very volatile week when it comes to news. So yes, but unlikely that the Fed is going to do that yet. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I would not be too much concerned with that. I think between their tapering that they're already doing, when they're selling off their assets and stuff like that, plus the interest rate increases, anything more than that is too much of a shock at one time. for the system. I don't think they want to do that, you know. So I wouldn't be too concerned about the very hawkish Fed coming out here.
Okay.
Cool. All right, that was the Aussie. We looked at that. Let's look at pounds. What did pounds do this week? So on the weekly chart, the pounds were in an uptrend. They had a really strong sell-off over the last couple of weeks, right off the highs. We made a new high and total rejection, engulfing candle, and bang, 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 till we get all the way back down to the demand on the weekly chart. And then we get the hammer last week and a continuation this week. So it looks like the selling is pretty much done, at least from the weekly perspective, and we obviously need to clear this supply. So it isn't going to be a very smooth ride yet for the pounds. If we're able to clear this, well, obviously that's just air. Nothing, no problem there. So I would say we're looking probably long pounds over here, right? The question is, like, is there room to make any money on the upside over here? Let's take a look. From the daily chart, yeah, there's some room on the daily, right? We got into our demand. There's the first level of supply. We engulf over here, and then bang, 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 and there's some room up into, 136 or so. So that's not bad. 200 ticks up. Some convergence over here of the 50 and the 200 moving average. Obviously, a level that needs to get tested from the break. We're there for about 10 days or so, dojing around. We had a break, we rally up. That's the first level of supply. So that's the level I would be looking for on the upward, around 1.36 for pounds. Okay. Let's see if there's something that we can make money getting up there. Let's take a look on the 240. So this one has already flipped to an uptrend, right? There's our first flip of trend, higher low, higher high, and we continued higher low, higher high. And this is looking like it's going to be eventually another higher low. The supply was right there. It got hit. We just bubble bottom confirmed. This should break out of here. I think we'd be over here probably tomorrow, 135. The target for the week, 136. So, something like this for pounds. Let's go look at the 60. Okay, zoom out a little bit. Yeah, we took out that supply up there. It looks like it got traded through. I actually have to clean my chart up a little bit. Oh no, I did. I drew it because of this wick over here against the wall. Yeah, right here. Okay, then we ended up taking out and making a lower low, so that's still a good supply zone. At the end of the day, we did land inside some demand area over here. I sort of drew it as wicks against the wall over here, and then I adjusted it for the push down. Right, I had originally drawn the zone like this, with this being the distal line and this being the proximal line, and then we wicked just slightly underneath over here, so I just adjusted it down a little bit. And this is looking to me like we're gonna, at least based on the closing candle over here, we should be back here pretty soon. And again, 135, then 136, I think is what we saw this week. They also have some stuff going on in England with their whole Brexit stuff going on. There's some political things going on over there. So again, the for sure is rampant this week. So, be quick to take profits. I think if you have some decent profit, lock it in. As far as Canadian is concerned, this thing looks like garbage. It looks really chopping like crazy. If you look on the weekly chart, right, we were in a downtrend, making the lower high, lower low on the weekly. We rallied up into the supply. There's the supply. And then we sold off, and then we started channeling over here. But we're still putting all these lower highs in. It's unable to get back up there. It's looking very weak. If we look up here, there's just nothing underneath us on the monthly chart. If we break underneath this level, it's dead. Canadian's dead. It's looking really horrible. As far as the daily chart, look over here. And we've been channeling around inside this sucker. We broke up, we broke down, we can't figure out what the hell it wants to do, right? We broke up, then we broke down, and we've basically hit this doji demand, and we're unable to make any new highs on the daily chart. They're all lower. This level is not holding. It's chewing. What's happening is that we're chewing through whatever demand is here. And this should be breaking down. Okay? So the Canadian ain't looking that great. Again, a lot of it has to do with Trump and the trading and all that fun stuff about the tariffs and things like that. So the chart's saying people are spooked. It's very possible we take this low out and we end up over here. If I was going to trade this, I would be looking for shorts, not for longs. Right now, it's just chopping around. It's not really giving a good signal. We can find something that makes more sense. Canadian lower time frame. Here's our 60 chart. Look at the wild swings over here. Massive swings, and then just facing. We're in a downtrend over here. Okay, and then lower highs. Then we're taking out these lows. Supplies. So we have to get out of this range first before we do anything. But I'm leaning shorts, especially if we start breaking over here. We make another lower high. This level starts working right here on the 60. Take the short. More than likely, we're going to break the bottom over here, based on what I'm seeing on the higher time frames. So that looks like a really nice short up there on the 60. That little doji candle. If you want to wrap the whole doji, you want to look at it over here. 77 around 600. Yeah, I'm sure you guys are spooked. I know. I got a lot of friends in Canada. They're like, damn, what the hell's going on? So let's take a look over here. Yeah, it doesn't look good, man. It looks really bad. Yeah. So we're sitting inside some lower time frames. And, that's the doji level I'm talking about around over here at 76 and change. This thing, if it gets up there and creates a lower high, this is dead. And if it falls out of here, it's also dead. So Canadian looks really, really weak. I'd be looking for shorts. All right, let's look at copper, which had a wicked move this week. Take a look up here. I mean, we break out of this wedge that we've been looking at for weeks and weeks and weeks with a massive, explosive move out of the wedge, okay? And we land ourselves right into the monthly supply again. So there's the monthly demand. We pulled back into it. We banged on it for a couple of months, and there's the reaction back over here, okay? So this is a level we haven't touched since, I think it was December or something like that when I was looking at it earlier. Let's get over here on the daily chart. Yeah, December of last year was the last time we were up here in copper, right? So you can be sure that people have shorts sitting in here, okay? And right now we've taken out all these highs, and we even took out highs as well, and we end all the way up here, right? And we get this inverted hammer, and then we get what sort of looked like it was an engulfing candle, but never got back to the highs. Well, it looks to me like we should see at least this. See a little gap area in here, 3.2. This back test to this area, look at these highs. That's what's coming. Now, what's the trend on this freaking chart? Well, this is actually a downtrend. Lower high, lower low, down. And then we just channel around over here. And this is one move right off the lows, straight up into supply. This is a short, okay? From the higher time frame, this is telling us we should be looking for some kind of back test. You can see the fib retracement at 38.2 is 3.2. That's shallow retracement, especially off of the zone that we haven't touched in almost a year, a little less than it. But right now, this is setting up, man, the 3.2. Here's the short. Here's the level. We've pushed back into it. We've hit the first level of demand, this thing, rally, base rally. We push back in. We get the inverted hammer. As long as we don't break this zone and we start selling off out of here, clear shot right to 3.2 down. Okay. So that's the trade I'm calling for right now, short down into 3.2 for copper. Okay, let's take a look on the lower time frames if it's giving us the signal for the entry there. There's the 6. And I was talking about taking this counter trend short on Friday with a couple of people, and I was looking for this higher low to form over here, which I think we're about to see right now. This has to hold. So long as we stay under here, look what happened. We've rallied off the demand zone. There's our demand right back here. And we push up, push up. We hit something smaller than a 60. And then we put a pair of twins, then we get the inverted hammer with the continuation move, and then just a little back test back to the area again, because again, we're in an uptrend. So they're trying to fight it before they flip this thing and shoot down into 3.2, which is really this zone. Looks like on the 60, there's actually two zones in there. It looks like there's a 3.200 approximately, and then the 3.2 zone over here. It's level on level. So I would probably aim a little closer, probably 3.2 and change over here for a target. So far, is it giving me the signal? Well, I'd like to make sure that this doesn't break the highs. And this is what I'm looking for my entry, okay? I've hit the doji supply of the 15 already. I sold off, and you see this little lower high back test right there telling me that, okay, this is good. And then we're channeling. A break under here is the signal. That's what I'm going to get short. Okay, and I'm looking for this all the way down here, 3.2 and change. Okay, so it's a really big move for copper. This is $12.50 a tick. So there's a lot of profit to be made over here. It is quite volatile on Sunday night, but that's where I'm looking for. I want to make sure that this is the higher, lower high. Okay, and how am I going to know? When I break under here. That's how I'm going to know. Once that happens, I'm going to look for the shorts. Okay, so that's number 2. That's the one I like a lot. So it's nat gas and copper look to be the best trades so far this week. Okay, soy. Well, add this to the list of news events. We have the crop report is on Tuesday this week, so you want to be very careful around noon Eastern time, 11 Central time on Tuesday for copper. I'm sorry, for soy. In general, let's take a look at what happened this week and what we've done and what we can do. If you remember last week when we did this, I told you we were going to die because we had this evening star reversal, and then we turned around and just this pair of twins, and sure enough, bang, we go all the way back and test the wedge breakout over here. From this long-term weekly wedge, and that's where we pretty much parked. We took out 10 in brutal fashion, just destroyed 10. And we left 10 after, a couple of days of fighting around 10, and we just left it in the dust. It's gone. And look what's going on over here. So the trade I like a lot for this coming week over here is to use the volatility on Tuesday of the crop report to back test 10. We've hit demand. Take a look at this. This is a downtrend. All right, lower highs. There's like a double top. They're both lower highs. And then we made lower lows. We're in a downtrend on the daily chart. Okay, the 200 moving average is sitting up here. Right, in the middle of the Bollinger Bands looks like it'll probably be down here pretty soon. Volatility giving me a back test into this area of breakout. Take a look at this level we're talking about. First of all, it's 10 even, and then it's all this level prior highs, and then the prior lows, and then we break it with this doji engulfing candle, and we land in demand, and back test, boom, boom. Massive sell-off from there. So I'm going to try and throw a short over here and catch this back test on the volatility. It's like a 30-point move up into 10, which is very possible during the USDA inventory crop reports coming out. And let's see if we can find the spot where it's going to sit. So that's the one I want. Okay, so a little bit higher than 10. This thing right here. Okay, take a look where we are. We've got a bunch of air over here. The news comes out. Plenty of people are going to try and short this one. They'll probably stop those suckers out. That's where you want the short. This is like not so big. It's only about 4 points or so. So if you put your target in there, your entry somewhere inside this zone, and get your stop on the other side, you could probably get into this trade for about $100 of contract of risk on a short. That's with the trend after a massive sell-off, expecting a back test to that level I just showed you on the daily. That would be a fantastic place to enter a short trade. Okay? That's what we're looking at for soy for this coming week. That looks really nice, like that one also. So those are 3 trades I would say I'm going to try and get myself into. It looks like it's actually, for sure, it's a freaking gap. That level is a freaking gap. That's where they're going to try and get it to when they go back for the USDA report. They're going to try and get it up here, fill the gap, and then bang. Ooh, like it even better now. So that's what we're looking at on soy for shorts. Okay. Let's take a look at the bonds, and then we'll wrap up this Sunday session. This Wednesday is a trading day. It's also FOMC Wednesday, so I'm debating about potentially changing the time of the trading session. We'll have a morning webinar, and then I have to see what my schedule looks like. Maybe we'll switch the actual live trading to after the FOMC announcement instead of before. We'll debate. I'll let you guys know by Tuesday what the plan is. But there's going to be a live trading session on Wednesday. As far as the bonds, if you remember last week, I mentioned that we were in a downtrend and we had one move up, and we were looking for a higher low to form on the chart, right? Before we could continue. Well, we got the higher low. Clearly a sell-off high, and then we get the twins, and now the question is, okay, well, are we just going to keep doing this, or are we going to do something? Okay. We know that the Fed is raising rates, and that would mean lower bond prices, not higher bond prices, right? So this pullback down was an increase in rates. Now the question becomes, well, are we going to create a lower high over here? This is just one move up, which is counter trend, and then we just start selling off, and then maybe just do something like this, which is probably what I'm not expecting, to be honest with you. I'm expecting us to do something like this. This is what I'm expecting us to do. So for now, this is definitely the higher low. I think we're going to start to flip trend around over here on the bonds. This is the longer term bonds, right? This is the 30-year. Let's take a look at the 60. There you go. There's our 60 chart. We've hit supply back here. It's one move off the bottom. And then we started doing this little wedge thing going on over here, right? A little flag thing, actually. It was like pennant, right? You know, we've got plenty of room. There's a gap over here. If you remember, I was talking about potentially taking the short out of this gap area, waiting for because it's a rollover gap up there, and I was waiting for that sucker, right? Yeah, we just formed the right shoulder. Let's see. You're talking about this little over here? Yeah, right here. If you're looking at little head and shoulders over here, well, this shoulder's higher than the head, so that's not really what you're looking at, right? So, I'm looking for actually a move up out of this into the gap, which we'll have a short sitting up there. Well, longer time frame. Okay, let's go take a look. We'll go look at that. But for now, we're looking at a long, this being the higher low that I'm talking about, up into the gap. And once we get to the gap, then we'll have to reassess. If you remember, I called for the lows at 142 last week. Bingo, really on target with that sucker where the bottom was going to lie. And sure enough, we've rallied strong. I mean, I didn't expect it to be that strong, to be honest. That part faked me out a little bit. I was pretty sure 142 on the pullback was the bottom over here, but it was a 240 zone. I'll show it to you. But the rally that came out of there was what I expected. So you're seeing on the daily chart right shoulder. Let's see. You're looking at an inverted head and shoulders. Is that what you're looking at? Potentially, right? Yeah, I could see that. So it's not really a shoulder until we get all the way back, into somewhere over here. But yeah, it could be. Could be. And there's a gap area. That's the rollover gap that I'm talking about. That's going to get hit. All right? So that's the target for now. This is the demand zone I was talking about that was going to get us to rally up there, right, on the 240. There's the demand. That was the one that we hit. And then this big move over here, that one took me by surprise. I didn't think it was going to be that big. But it was. And now we're doing this little flag thing that I just showed you. We should end up back over here inside this gap at 145, and then a sell off, and then we'll see what happens as we get back down here. So it's long into 145, short out of 145. That's pretty nice. It's pretty big as it is. That's what we're looking at. And again, FOMC will cause a lot of volatility in the bonds, so be careful. Okay. Anyone have any questions at all for anything we discussed? Okay. If you are a new subscriber, make sure that you search on Twitter at Cosmic Trading and hit the follow button because I'll be sending out tweets all over the week with trades that trigger. So make sure that you're following at Cosmic Trading. Okay, not the regular account, but not the Joe Sofer account. You need to follow at Cosmic Trading to be able to get the tweet alerts. Everybody else, have a great weekend. I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Stay posted for a potential change in the live trading session for Wednesday because of the FOMC news. Everyone else, enjoy the rest of the day. See you later. Bye.